Alright, so I'm going to give you some help on checkpoint number 6 in case you need that. This is slide 11. The thing that matters the most in slide 11, as I said in the relationships thing, is that you need to determine which type of method you're going to use and what type of display you're going to use. So I have them broken down here: categorical versus categorical, quantitative versus categorical, and quantitative versus quantitative, along with what you're going to click in StatCrunch. So I honestly think this is an easier way to go, is to just follow the directions that are here in week 15, because they have exactly what to click. But if you wanted to watch me walk through it, I'll do it for you. So let's start with the categorical versus categorical. So if I'm looking at categorical versus categorical, let's say I want to see if the type of smartphone somebody has is related to, I don't know, whether or not we have a lot, we don't have that many people who fall into categories other than car. Let's say if this is related to your gender. Who knows? Who cares? So gender is categorical, smartphone is categorical. So if I wanted to do that, according to week 15, first thing I'm going to do is a stacked bar chart. So I need to stack the bars with relative frequency within a category. That'll just make things nice. So if I go to graph and I go to bar chart with data, I'm going to choose one of the two, and this is where it always gets hinky to me. Let's try gender, and I'm going to group it by the smartphone decision. I'm going to change these to stacked bars. So the one thing I did have there is I wanted to change them to relative frequency. Now relative frequency, I'll just show you the difference. If I do frequency, I can see, okay, it looks like there's a pretty even amount of greens and blues in both categories, but I can see I have a few more females than males. So if I'm worried about that being potentially an issue, especially if my bars are not very even, what I could do is I could change this to relative frequency. And then it'll, within a category. I'm like, it's not working out. And this will make everything out of 100%. So that way I can really see, okay, it looks like maybe the males are more likely to have an Apple iPhone. Though, apparently there's this one, somehow I have no idea how someone managed to get, yes, an Apple without the iPhone in there. I don't even understand it. But this right here is a data issue, right? I should have caught this back on checkpoint 4. So I should actually go back and fix that, unfortunately, before I finish my actual results here. So I need to figure out where that person who just has yes and Apple is and change that. Because otherwise, I'm going to lose some points for having that mistake in my final presentation. So I'm going to redo that bar chart with data. I didn't mind it split by gender. And let's just show you, I'll show you the other way just because I can. If I did smartphone grouped by gender, now it's going to have the smartphones as the actual bars, and then they're going to be broken down by the gender. I'll stack them, and then since I know we have a heck of a lot, I'll leave it this way so you can see the difference. See, this is the difference if you have a lot of people with an iPhone versus a lot of people with Android. But this is still fine. I can still interpret this. I can still see that about half of the people who have an iPhone are female, half are male, and the same thing's pretty much true with the Android. But if I wanted it to be a little more easy to compare in terms of apples to apples, I can change it to either relative frequency or percent within a category. And now I can see, okay, maybe there are just slightly more females with an Android than males in that category. But anyways, this is what I want in this slide 11. I'm using this one that is abandoned. No, it's not. Yeah, this is the abandoned one that I've been using as my example. So if I go to 11, I'm going, okay, this is Kelly, and my two variables were gender versus, what the heck were we doing? Type of phone. So now I have a nice display that I could include. So I'm just going to do the snipping tool. It's already ready, but it's not awake. I'm going to grab this, make sure I have my thing, copy, and throw that on into this slide. So right now this is just showing, this is just showing people, okay, at a glance, at first glance, it doesn't appear that there's any relationship between gender and type of phone. But if I wanted to go further, I could, of course, talk about what my hypotheses and everything were. So let me insert a text box. All right, since we're doing categorical versus categorical, according to this, we're going to do a contingency table and get a p-value, which is a chi-squared test, as you guys saw in that last lecture. So we ran a chi-squared test of independence. And then if we wanted to be really good about this, we'd probably include the null hypothesis is that gender does not influence type of phone, or that gender and type of phone are independent, right? Or the proportion of females that have an iPhone is the same as the proportion of males. There's a bunch of different ways to write this. And then our alternative is that gender does influence type of phone. All right? I don't love how this turned out, but whatever. Beggars can't be choosers here. Haha, that'll be better. I'll do some bullets. So now I've got my, I've got my null and hypothesis in there. And then I'm going to just do that in StatCrunch. So as we discussed, or as I put in that how-to on the week 15, we are going to be doing a table contingency. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Table contingency with data. Choose your row and your column. Again, do not matter which one is which. And it's going to default to giving you the chi-squared test for independence. So that's really all you need. Here we do have a trouble. You can see here, warning, 20% of the cells have an expected count of less than 5. So now I'm a little concerned. And what I would probably do is, it looks like where my biggest problem is this gender fluid person who has this other brand of phone. Because if they were gone, I'd get rid of this row and this column. So just because I can't really trust this p-value with this person in my data, I'm going to go find them and delete them and then rerun this. I could continue running it. As I said, that's completely okay. You just need to make a note. So yes, other brand, this person is causing all sorts of issues for me. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this row. Boom. And I'm going to rerun that same exact table. So contingency with data, gender by smartphone, compute. All right, and now you can see a very different p-value. Before we were saying it makes a big difference, and now we're seeing what we saw in the bar chart, that we don't really have that big of a difference. So again, I'm just gonna snip this. And now I do have one problem, this 4, but 4 is so close to 5, I don't feel too terrible about it. I'm gonna put this into my slide. All right. And then I might even put a cute little insert, like a text box again, with FTN. And I just, to make that cute so it looks like a decision, even though I don't necessarily need this, I'm just hobby horsing now. I might change that color up just for funsies. Yes, all right. So, and then the last thing we should probably write after that p-value and everything is a conclusion. So I'll just put another text box down here at the bottom because I don't want to have to press enter a bunch of times. All right. There is not enough evidence because we failed to reject the null. Conclude that gender influences type of phone a Mesa student owns. So that's it. That is my beautiful test. That is all I want for slide 11. And that's how you would do categorical versus categorical. I'll make a different video for categorical versus quantitative and so on and so forth. But now you can see kind of what I'm expecting for slide 11.